Hello, I am Denisha Daniel of Excelsior, a finance coaching and microbusiness consulting company. Today, I want us to talk a little bit on a topic that I am very passionate about: money and mindset. As a financial consultant, I try to help people get their finances in order, both their personal, professional, and business finances. And what I've noticed is if you go about making changes to your processes without dealing with the thinking behind money and what your mindset is, those changes don't tend to last. But you don't have to take it from me. I have with me a professional in the area of mindset management, and we're going to have a discussion on money and mindset. So, to the beautiful lady on my screen, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little about you.
Thank you, Denisha. Hi, everyone. My name is Boyce, and I am a professional coach at Impact Coaching International. And outside of coaching, I am also an HR professional. Now, I've been doing this for a number of years, for just over 7 years, and it has really been quite fulfilling for me. I actually started my business, Impact Coaching International, last year. I was doing it informally before, and I thought, let me just formalize this approach. And so it's been smooth sailing ever since, working with women and men, impacting their lives in special ways, especially when it comes to their mindset and how they approach the different obstacles in their lives.
Beautiful. I noticed that you said you were doing it informally at first. It's amazing how our businesses start, right? We just do something on the side and then it turns into a golden idea.
Yep.
What made you think that it's something that you could do as a business and stop the informal way approach you took?
Actually, it was my boss at the time who recognized the passion and the level of fulfillment that I was getting from the process.
Mhm.
And he encouraged me to become certified. So I went ahead and I got certified. And then when I was doing the certification, they had a module about starting your business. So I started it and I did not look back.
Thank God for good bosses.
I know, right? I have always been blessed with great bosses. It is
That's
truly an
good.
amazing feeling.
That's good. That's good. So you do HR professionally, you said, and you still do the coaching on the side.
Correct.
Good going, girl.
Correct.
You must have a full
Thank
docket.
you. I do.
So let's jump right into it. Money and mindset. Do you
Sure.
think there's a relationship between money and mindset? What's your take?
Of course, yeah. I believe that there's a relationship between everything and mindset because when you think about what mindset is, it is the way that we perceive the world. It is the way that we assimilate information. It's the way that we filter information through our brain, right?
Mhm.
And if someone has a positive mindset, they're going to look at life positively. If someone has a negative mindset, they're going to look at life as doom and gloom, right? So similarly, when you look at the relationship between money and mindset, if you have a positive mindset about money, then you're going to look at that positively. You're going to look at creating different streams of income. You're going to look at money as, abundance, as opposed to looking at it from a place of lack that you are in need and that type of stuff. So I do believe that there is a deep rooted relationship between mindset and money.
Okay. I agree with you because I've discussed this at length in the past. And something that I tend to speak about, and I'd like to hear you weigh in on it, is how our childhood affects the way we deal with money and how it frames our mindset. And you spoke about how mindset has a relation to lots of different areas. Tell me what's your take on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So I'll use an example. If you could imagine someone that has grown up in a household where their parents or their older siblings or their older relatives have not been accustomed to saving,
Right.
that becomes a generational practice where that is not taught, right?
Mhm.
So they're accustomed, go to school, get education, go to work, get a job, live paycheck to paycheck. And if that has been the familial generation or the familial practice, then that is what that person is growing up understanding, you know. I'm not sure in Grenada what how persons refer to the public sector, but in Barbados, many years ago, your parents, my parents, everyone's parents would encourage them to get a government job. Get a government job is safer, right?
For us, it was a bank job.
It was a bank job,
Yeah,
right? So similar principle, right? Get a
right.
bank job, get a government job is safer, right? No one spoke about, okay, what job is the highest paying profession? Did you align yourself to study for the highest paid profession? What made you choose that particular role? They're usually conversations around safety and comfort and so forth, right?
Right.
So I say all that to say that sometimes your family background and the different practices and the different beliefs that people have can have a huge influence.
Mhm,
If you've been raised by your grandparents who are accustomed to saving under the mattress,
mhm.
right? All of a sudden you have a deeply disoriented view on financial institutions. Don't trust the banks. They always want to take your money, as opposed to trying to leverage these institutions for your benefit. So certainly, your family, your upbringing has a connection or an impact
Mhm.
on how you respond or how you think about money.
I like that you said that because something I grew up hearing, and it wasn't until I started researching it on my own, I realized it wasn't true, is that insurance is a scam and they just want to take all your money from you.
Yep.
And
Prime example.
when you look at the way the generations prior to us would have dealt with it, they did not plan for their families. So we have an issue which I get really passionate about where I feel like our generation is starting from behind in a relay because we don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything to start off with. And most persons our age, they start off in debt because their families have not prepared insurances or burial plans or anything. And that
Mm-hmm.
causes them to now have to take from their funds to take care of the generation past and then have to try to do something for themselves currently.
Exactly. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation in terms of um the ethnicity and different backgrounds,
Right.
that have different approaches. But what I will also share to tap onto that
Mhm.
is when you look at business owners and how they teach their children to be entrepreneurs from the get-go, right? And there are some businesses today, some big multinational corporations that before the next generation can take over leadership, they have to work their way up in the system,
Yes.
understand the business, understand how the money is made, So you find it in certain ethnicities and backgrounds and so forth. It's not across the board, but mindset is everyone. Mindset is humanity. And if we all just, try to set the right principles, set the right habits,
Mhm.
create the right mindset about money from very young, we can start to change that narrative.
Okay, so this leads me to a question which I think you already answered, but how important do you think mindset is when it comes to our relationship and dealing specifically with money, like our physical dealings with it?
Mm. I think it is paramount, I'll give you a few examples.
Mhm.
If you are someone that you have a lazy mindset, right? It means that is going to inform how you earn money.
Mhm.
You are not going to be that type of person that's looking to create different streams of income. You're going to be comfortable with one,
Right.
right? And but you gotta change your mindset
Mhm.
from laziness to production to being active, right? And because you're active, it means that you are going to what society calls hustle,
Mhm.
to be able to earn that additional income.
Right.
There's also the mindset that is strategic, and let's say that you are so disciplined that you want to save.
Mhm.
So instead, you cut up your ATM card, stop yourself from going, from swiping, and if I need money, I have to go into the bank. I have to go into the line. That's a strategic way to hack your mind, right?
Right.
To be able to set your goal for savings and accomplish your goal for savings. So I would say mindset is critical.
Mhm.
It is very important as it relates to how you can shift your finances or how you approach finances on a whole. If you have a positive mindset, you're going to look at it positively, right? You're going to look at money and make it work for you as
Right.
opposed to working for the money, right? You're going to be looking for different avenues. You're going to be considering investment,
Mhm.
taking risks, learning, expanding your knowledge. If you have a negative mindset on a whole, you're going to look at money from a place of fear, from a place of, let me keep my hands closed. Let me hold on to every little thing that I get, right?
Mhm.
And that's what makes a difference in how you approach your financial situation.
Guys, I hope you're listening because she's saying some really critical points, and I'm so glad that I was introduced to Kara. This is really good. She said that if you have a negative mindset, you tend to keep your hands closed and you hold on to things. So that's at least one indicator, something that you could gauge in your life to see if you have any negative mindset patterns when it comes to money. So, Kara, can you tell us some others? How can we identify some of the negative patterns we have in our lives?
I think that you need to start actually asking yourself some questions, right? So, firstly, you got to ask yourself, how do I spend my money? What have I been spending my money on? You know? And there's this book that if we get serious, you can read this book. It's called The Four Laws of Debt-Free Prosperity.
Okay.
All right. And it teaches you on what you need to do to be able to improve your financial situation. All right. Now, if then the first law in that book is tracking. So imagine if you just take a book and a book and a pen, and every day you're tracking how you're spending.
Mhm.
Then at the end of the day, you can see where you may have misspent, where you may have been reckless with your money. And then you can say, okay, I'm spending a bit too much on food.
Mhm.
Let me change, let me change my habits. Let me start cooking,
Right.
right? So that's one of the things that you can implement, right? If you realize, I'm spending a lot of my money on clothing, then you got to start to set a budget. Like, do you need new clothes every week?
Right.
Every time you go to an event, those types of things, right? So it's first identifying where you've been spending your money.
Mhm.
Then you also want to identify who are you spending your time with. I had a mentor one time that said to me, write your five closest friends
Mhm.
on a sheet of paper. So I wrote my five closest friends, right?
Right.
And because I wrote my five closest friends, he said, now, next to that, write what you believe their income is, next to their name. What is their income? Right? So I wrote that next to each of them. And then he said, take an average of those five and tell me if that's your income, right? And I did that, right? So that's my challenge to you guys, for those of you that are viewing.
Wow.
Write your five closest friends and write next to their name what is their average monthly income. And then take an average of that five and tell me if that is your income. You understand? And that shifted everything for me because it's not that, don't get me wrong, you're not trying to associate yourself simply by how much people make,
Mhm.
but it's a mindset and an understanding
Mhm.
that birds of a feather flock together. It's a
Girl.
mindset and an understanding that the association that you are with will eventually pour out into you and allow you to rise to another level,
That's
right? So that's two things that I can share with you
mhm.
that, I mean, we could go on, but those two have made a significant impact in my life. Track it and also checking your circle and making sure that you're associated with people that are having money conversations.
Mhm.
All right. I'll give you a third indicator.
Okay.
When last have you read about money? When last have you read a book about improving your financial situation? If you are not receiving new information, then it means that you're making decisions on the old information that you had. It means that the mind that created the financial situation that you're in is the same mind that you're trying to solve.
That
You know?
that's good.
So you got to be reading,
That's
right? So
good.
if you're not reading, you're also not serious
Yeah,
about having that that mindset, that positive relationship between money and mindset.
that's good. That's really good. Listen, that's so good. I am going to watch this again. This is so girl. So so many things are going through my mind right now because that example you gave about writing down your five closest friends and then writing their incomes, it's a monetary depiction of you are who you associate yourself with. And like you
Correct.
said, it's not, I mean, there's more to friendship than just the financial aspect of it. But if you're looking at this, of course, I'm a financial coach, so I'm talking money. But if you look at it
Mm-hmm.
in other aspects of your life, the qualities of the people around you, it still manifests itself in you. So that I've never thought about it in a financial space. So that was a really good one. So
Awesome.
let's see. Before I go into the next question, while you were speaking, I don't remember which point it was. There was something that came to mind, right? I remember a few years ago, I was looking at this movie. And in the
Mm-hmm.
movie, there was this girl, she was an only child, her father was rich, and her mother had passed away. And the father used to do a lot of investing, owned several businesses, and she didn't work. She was a spoiled rich girl who spent a lot shopping and doing retail therapy and all of that. And as the movie went along, her father filed for bankruptcy because he had made some bad investments. And
Mm-hmm.
me, with my mind at the time, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so let me see how she's gonna get out of this. And she's talking to her friends, and they're like, well, you're gonna have to go look for a job. And she's like, I don't know what I'm good at. I literally have never worked a day in my life. I don't know if I even know how to work. And I thought it was interesting to see how she would come out of it. Do you know what this girl did? This girl went and started a business out of creating fish products because she was so used to being in spas and surrounding herself with that kind of self-care thing. She started
Yeah.
making a skincare line that brought the families millions back. And I'm like, I would
Wow.
have wanted me, knowing how I grew up, to go look for another job
Yeah.
that would at least match the income level of what I was accustomed to. So I think it's
Yeah.
interesting when you made that point about how we were cultured and how we were
Mm-hmm.
nurtured as children and grew up. Basically, what is said to us or what we may have been indoctrinated with manifests itself in our finances as well because we reproduce what we would have seen.
Correct.
I think that's
Correct.
yeah. So guys,
Powerful.
I hope you have your pen and paper. Well, this is recorded. You can look it over again, but she's dropping some major nuggets here. And listen, do the activities that she's recommending. I think they're very helpful to get you to understand your mindset about money, your financial personality. Something I think I mention a lot of times is knowing what your tendencies are towards finances. If you're able to identify those, you're able to make changes. So good stuff, Cara, good stuff. So now let's get down to the meat of the matter. Now that we've identified what our mindset is, how it's important, how we could track it, how we could go about knowing the negative ones, the positive ones, how can we tangibly go about developing or changing our mindset towards money, given that we have a negative one?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's all in creativity habits,
mhm,
right? So a lot of the time we rely on our mindset to inform our practices,
right.
right? But for some people, because you're now doing it backward, you want to improve your mindset. Yeah, you might have to start off by just implementing the action where you can hack your mind, right? So action cures fear. Action cures indiscipline. Action, all these building habits is what gets you into a state of progression and growth. So two things. One, we need to start increasing your reading.
Okay.
15 minutes a day is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be talking about money, right? I had a mentor one time that he would put $50 in, well, this is Barbados, so 25 US
Right.
in a book. Let's say he wants to read one chapter.
Right.
He's going to put that 25 US at the end of that chapter so that he can read the full chapter and reward himself with 25 US, right? But 15 minutes a day goes a long way. You don't have to sit down and read the entire book. It's 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to read more. If you want to read more, no. 15 minutes. You have to build that discipline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you read for 15 minutes on a daily basis. That book that I mentioned earlier is one of the first books that I read to get my finances in order, right? I'll tell you this. I remember I read that book. I have my calculator. Let me tell you. I read that book in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
2012, right? 10 years later, let me tell you the difference in my income after reading that book, right? So right now,
And guys, while she calculates, the name of the book is The 4 Laws of Debt-Free Prosperity.
4 Laws of Debt-Free Prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2012, my income was a particular level. In 2022, my income is now 540% more. 10 years later. 10 years later.
She said percent,
right?
guys. She didn't say dollars. She said percent.
540% more than where I was 10 years ago. All right. That book is amazing. Another book is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
You understand? Just so you gotta understand money, right? You have to understand how it works. Another book is Ecclesiastes in the Bible. My favorite book.
Girl.
Right? My
Wisdom.
favorite book.
Come on.
You understand? We gotta be reading about these things.
Right.
But I want to zone in. I want to zone in on the 4 laws of debt-free prosperity. So we speak about reading, but let's put it into practice, right? First, you have to track.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first law. Then you have to target. That's the next law. That's the second law. So that's where you set in targets for what are the goals that you want to achieve, right? After you're tracking. So you're tracking your spending. You realize that this is where the money is going. Okay, good. Let me set a target to reduce this amount on a weekly basis or to save this amount on a weekly basis. So once you set that target, the next law is trim. You got to start trimming.
Right.
If you want to save $50 a week, you got to start trimming what you've been spending $50 on, right? And then the fourth law is that you got to start training. This is where now you got to be training your mind on what's the best possible decision that you need to be making with your money.
Right.
And you need to be making decisions on things that are going to bring a return for you, not things that are going to take from you.
Right.
And reading books is what's going to help you with training your mind. So you're tracking, you're targeting, you're trimming, but then you got to train, right? And there are many tools out there. There's something called Habit Hub that allows persons as a free app online. I use it as well.
Say it again. Habit what?
Habit Hub.
Okay.
Right? So you can go on there and you can download that. I use that for all of my habits. I use it for my exercising. I use it for drinking water. I use it for financial.
I need this.
I use it everything. Reading, everything, right? And it allows you to track what you've been doing, what habits you're creating. But in terms of practicality, you gotta create habits. You gotta dive into the information. You gotta be tracking. You gotta be trimming. You have to be intentional. We are not intentional with our finances.
No, we're not.
Right? We're not intentional. And let me tell you something. I've worked in the bank. I was an account manager at an organization in Barbados. You know what? One of these things, what I learned about it, one of the first things that I did, I recognized what persons were coming to the organization to borrow money for. And I made a list of these things. People were coming to the organization to borrow money for funeral expenses. They were coming to the organization to borrow money for educational expenses. They were coming to the organization to borrow money for travel, these types of things, right? So you mentioned insurance earlier.
Yeah.
I started calling around insurance agents.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want a policy that will cover my parents in the event of death.
Yeah.
So I don't have to borrow that money.
Yeah.
Hey, I want a policy that will cover me in the event of a travel emergency, if I'm ill while traveling. I started creating separate accounts,
Mm-hmm.
right? For different things. So one account for travel, one account for emergencies, one
Mm-hmm.
account for, to spend, just to splurge. You understand what
Right.
I mean? Then I started breaking it up. And I was like, I'm only gonna spend 10% on myself on a monthly basis
Mm-hmm.
once I achieve these particular goals. It was all about being intentional, right? We have to be intentional. And the other thing is that when we get increases, the fastest thing we do is go and get into more debt. I see it all the time, especially as an HR professional. Employees get a salary increase
Yes.
or a promotion. Hey, can I have a job letter? Can you write it? Can you make it out to this bank?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? What is it regarding? So as an HR professional, I care deeply for my staff.
Yeah.
So I would ask these tough questions. Hey, what's this about? Are you going to take out more debt? Well, what are you doing?
Right.
Talk to me, especially the ones that I have a good relationship with. All right. And I said, no, that increase, invest that. Every year from 20 2015 until now, I had a particular insurance agent, but of course I had to separate because then I married an insurance agent. But my specific insurance advisor at the time, every year whenever I get a salary increase or a promotion, I will call him. I will say, hey, I want another policy. Or
Right.
hey, I want to increase my contribution.
Yeah.
Right? Because as you grow your income, you wanna either maintain or reduce your expenses.
I like
Right?
that. Say that again.
As you grow your income, you want to either maintain or reduce your expenses.
Yep.
And that's how you grow your spending power.
Yeah.
That's how you grow that amount, right? So, but it's a mindset.
It is.
It's a mindset. Getting persons like yourself, Denisha, financial coaches,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because so that's the third practical tip. Because it's a mindset shift, and because you may not have been cultured the right way, because you may not have all the information, having a financial coach like yourself
Mm-hmm.
could help persons along the way
Yeah.
set targets, review their current profile. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I mean? See what are the investment opportunities out there,
Mm-hmm.
see whether they can do debt consolidation to be able to just manage one payment and save the rest, right? See what is a good program to start reducing debt. You understand? Do you want to be paying into the smallest debt so that you can start to reduce it from like a snowball effect?
All right.
Or do you want to, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are things that coaches will help you with. Yeah. And so that's another thing in terms of being practical and being intentional about your finances and your mindset.
This was so good. This is so good. Listen, I could go on. I love to talk about money, so I'm just trying to reel it in and try to stick within the mindset portion. But
Mm,
something I stumbled upon today, and I've been repeating it to myself for the entire day because I thought it was so profound. And certain
mhm,
things that you're speaking about kind of just surrounds the same thing. It's two words. It's consistency compounds, meaning
mm,
that when you start doing something, even if you start doing it small, the habit of consistency causes it to grow over time. And I think that's very
mhm,
beautiful. So you mentioned discipline, you mentioned intentionality. If you're out there and you're listening to us and you're having a hard time with your finances, you feel frustrated, start with something manageable and stick to
mhm.
it. And then you'll
Correct.
see that the discipline and the habits that you're creating from doing that one thing, it spills over into other aspects of your finances and even other aspects of your life. Consistency compounds. Cara was just talking about habits, discipline, intentionality. Your finances are yours. The responsibility is on you. You cannot blame the bank. You cannot blame your employer. It's on you to handle your finances well. And as she would have profoundly said throughout the last few minutes, that mindset is a critical area to deal with when you have to deal with your finances. No. Cara, is there anything else you want to say before I tell them about something beautiful that's happening in Grenada soon?
Yeah, sure. I would just say two things. One, when you said that word compound, another book came to mind. I do a lot of reading, right?
I could
This
tell.
book, this book called The Compound Effect.
Right.
I think this one is written by Darren Hardy.
I
I
think
believe so.
I think I
Is
have it
that
on my list. Like well,
you
you
have
can tell.
that?
Look at my shelf.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
you should see my virtual library. I think I have it, but I have not read it yet. So anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Read that one, The Compound Effect. Everything compounds, even effort, you know. So that's one of the books that I would encourage you. But I will also encourage everyone, especially if you are a Christian, right? I really want to mention this because I find that in the church, sometimes we are afraid to talk about money. And you know, in Ecclesiastes, the verse, I want to say the exact verse, right? What I look for that, I want you guys to understand that God created us to have a prosperous life. He said in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper, you know, and not to harm you,
Yeah.
plans to give you hope and a future. But the one that I want to really share with you from Ecclesiastes that was quite interesting for me, I think it was in the first chapter, is when, was it the first chapter? But the writer was basically speaking about that we are meant to enjoy, you know, everything. I can't find the verse, but it's speaking about being able to enjoy everything
Is
on
that
this earth.
like the time thing? There's a time for everything. Is it that?
Well, yeah, it speaks about there being a time for everything and so forth. But it was something he said, and I only read it recently. I should have really pulled it for you, because it blew my mind, right?
Right.
The fact that the one that you're speaking about, it says there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens.
Right.
I found it. It's chapter 3.
Okay.
Ecclesiastes 3, verse 12. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil.
Right.
This is the gift of God. When you think about it, find satisfaction in all your toil, find satisfaction in your job, find satisfaction in your business, right? As you earn, enjoy it, eat, drink, be merry. This is the gift of God. And when you think about finances, a lot of things that people are going through right now is because of their financial situation. People that are depressed is because of a financial situation. Divorces are happening because of financial situations. You understand what I mean? People are unhappy and they're leaving jobs, you know, without the right approaches
Yeah.
because of financial situations. But we are meant to be happy. And so I just want to encourage you to understand that, you know, the word speaks about how we are to live. The word speaks about prosperity, and we are not to run from it, right? Just guard your heart, because it is the love of money that God has a problem with.
Yes.
Okay? And that's my final thing that I'll share with you guys.
This was so good. I feel like we should probably do another one. This is beautiful. So you
You know
guys,
where to find me. I am available anytime.
I appreciate
Anytime.
you guys would never believe I just this is the first time we're speaking via video, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I've actually known Cara for about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. And let me tell you why I know her, because this beautiful woman who is filled with so much wisdom and encouragement is coming to Grenada. Cara, tell us about why you're going to be here. Let the people know. Let the people know.
So I'm coming to Grenada November 26th, and I am coming to do a conference just for women in Grenada. We are going to be focusing on rediscovering and preserving who we are as women. The conference is entitled Exhale, Rediscover and Preserve You. And man, we have done this conference in Guyana. We've done this conference in St. Lucia. We are headed to Antigua. Then we're coming to Grenada on the 26th. And then we're climaxing in Barbados, my hometown. But I'm really excited about meeting you women, helping you to understand who you are. You know, things happen. People go through different situations in life, and sometimes it can strip away at you. You
Right.
know, you can lose yourself in the process. And that's what this conference is about, helping you rediscover who you are, helping you understand what truly makes you happy, helping you set goals the correct way and finding a path that is unique to you, right? Helping you to walk intentionally, helping you to understand what God has called you to do in your life. What's your purpose on this earth? I mean, we're going to have a blast. I can't wait. I'm even more fired up. We were supposed to be there last month, right, Janisha?
Yeah.
And we had a situation with the airline. Got to the airport, and that's a whole other story. But I'm coming even stronger because there's someone in Grenada that needs to be in that room that is looking for a breakthrough. And God is saying to you, this is your time to claim your increase. And so I can't wait to meet you guys. I'm fired up and excited. And we're going to have some fun together. On November 26th, we are going to be at the Radisson Resort in Grenada in Grand Anse.
Right.
And we're starting at 9 a.m. sharp. You can follow us on Instagram at Impact Coaching _ or you can visit our website at www.impactcoachinternational.com, or just send me a message, 246-262-6734. Let's connect. Let's get you in that room. Denisha, remind me of the tickets. I think it's $150 EC.
Yes, $150.
Yeah, and guys, that's really just to cover the cost for your breaks and so forth, and for the hotel, right? But everything that I'm going to give to you, I'm giving that to you as my gift, to really help position you or reposition you in your life. So looking forward to seeing you on Saturday, November 26th.
Okay, so guys, she told you, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth, as they said. No, listen. After listening to Cara for the last few minutes, you do not want to miss this event, okay? You cannot afford to miss it. The way she just went through step by step, process by process, principle upon principle on how you could deal with your mindset concerning money. Could you believe if you're in a room with her and she's talking to you about your life? You guys need to get your tickets. She already told you where to find her, how to connect with her. Do that, please. And don't let this girl think that the Grenadians are not welcoming, because you know they said we're friendly people. So let's just swarm the place and just network with her and just pour love on her and receive from whatever it is that she's going to give you from her wealth of wisdom. Cara, girl, it's great to connect with you. And
Same here.
thank you for your time. And when you get here, we're definitely going to see each other. So guys,
Most definitely.
again, I'm Denisha Daniel of Excelsior, your finance coach and consulting company. You know where to find me. You know where to find Cara. I want to do another one of these, and I don't want to spill it in case it doesn't work out, but we're going to have another good conversation with another beautiful lady on finances. So enjoy your morning, your evening, your night, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.